Okay, we're ready.
Thanks, Bill. Good evening. Welcome to the July 14th, 2020 Finance Agenda Committee meeting. I'll start with a roll call. Supervisor Syed,
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw, Councilmember Delarada,
Present.
Councilman McPartlin,
Here.
Councilwoman Jakewith,
Here.
and myself. I also have Paul Briggs attending, Deputy Supervisor Fominski, Assessor Amberger, Chief McManus, Town Planner Laura Robertson, Systems Administrator Bill Lawrence, Receiver of Taxes Diane Percy, Town Clerk Michelle Martinelli, Superintendent of Water and Sewer Matt Yetto. Did I miss anyone? Great. Before we begin, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of this June 9th, 2020 Finance meeting?
Janet, can you just wait 1 second?
Sure.
Councilwoman McGraw sent a text.
Oh, okay, great.
Get in the meeting, so she just needs the link again.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got that too.
Bill, can you send her the link again?
Sure.
Yasmin just sent it to her.
Okay. Oh, here she is.
Councilwoman McGraw, are you on?
She was here. It looks like she disappeared.
Looks like it kicked her off again.
There she is.
Hi, thank you all.
We were just getting started. I was asking, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th Finance meeting?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, and our first item for action, there was going to be a discussion about certain budgetary modifications. I know I sent the town board a large package. I hope it was comprehensive enough for you. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions about those budget mods that are already documented.
So do you want to go over them first, Janet, or do you want us to ask questions? How would you like to proceed?
If any of you have, I can go over them briefly, and then if you all have questions, I'm happy to answer them. So for the controller line, we're short, and my assumption is going to be that's because Paul stayed, longer than anticipated because of COVID. And I'm not sure how he budgeted for himself for, vacation and sick buyback. And, he was obviously not able to take any vacation this year. So that buyback may have been a little bit higher than he anticipated getting.
So that's been budgeted. Has that been paid?
The vacation has not been paid. The sick has been paid.
Okay.
So this $33,147.31 is anticipating the vacation payout and a shortage when you continue with the controller at step 0 through the end of 12/31. And it also includes what we're saving on my salary currently to put back in.
It does include that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was my question. Okay.
Building maintenance overtime is.
When is Paul Sylvester's that other money going to be paid out?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm waiting for direction from the supervisor.
And we're still waiting on some information that Janet's going to provide.
Yes, I did have Margot working on that today. Hopefully we'll have that to you for tomorrow morning.
And what
Thank
is that information?
That information is a historical view of what the New York State Comptroller's Office had asked us to look at in context of the situation.
Did they ask us to look at anything?
Yes.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought they just said they didn't have an opinion on it.
No, there was a paragraph that cited, what we should be looking at and what should be part of any opinion, any legal opinion that we receive, and that we should also look at how this particular situation was handled in the past, or how any sick or vacation time has been paid out prior. So being equipped with that historical information, I think will help us make a more cogent decision.
Though we've already voted to pay them.
Correct.
Thank you.
The rest of the lines in the A fund, a lot of these lines usually are budgeted at a $0, especially like unemployment insurance, which we generally don't see, but because of COVID, again, this is an expense that we wouldn't generally expect during the year. And it is proper to cover them as they go over budget. So I'm just trying to keep everything up to date.
So the rest of the line, if we're moving from left to right, the 1550, 1275, and 8,000. So those are water and sewer lines?
Yeah. What happens is these people, the water and sewer people were doing plowing and stuff at town hall. So
So
Paul would
that-
always budget that as a 0.
Mhm.
But they have done some work. So now that they've done that work, we really should cover that line.
Okay, but they didn't. Is Matt Yetto on the phone? Because I thought they weren't going to do it this year. So
I think they did it initially in January before that was all decided.
Okay.
And that's rightfully charged to buildings. That should not be charged to his line. It's charged to the building line.
Great. So then that last line, what is that last line? I don't remember 8,000 off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to go back.
The unemployment insurance.
Yeah. So
So a
somebody,
lot of people filed unemployment because of COVID. So our part-timers that weren't able to work remotely or didn't work have filed unemployment. We also had a few seasonals file unemployment this year, which is unusual.
that is unusual.
And we, since we are self-funded in essence, we have to pay New York State Department of Labor directly for all claims.
Seasonals were eligible for unemployment?
Yeah, what happens is if they work a part-time job somewhere else, perhaps for part of the year, or a full-time job, and then come to us seasonally,
Yeah.
when they get laid off or when they leave that job for whatever reason, if they're eligible for unemployment, unemployment comes to each employer and we get signed.
Right.
a
A piece of it.
percentage.
Okay.
I'm also surprised by that because we don't identify our seasonal employees. They're not specific people. You know, we go through that that labor agency, et cetera. So I'm surprised that specific people can apply.
I think what happens, Councilwoman Jakewith, is that when they apply, they're being asked all the employers that they worked for, and I think that's how it populates. And I think they also refer to the New York State 45, which we submit online every quarter, which lists all of the employees that we employed for the quarter, their social security numbers, their gross wages, and their taxes paid to the state. So I'm assuming that they cross-reference that and identify us as an employer, even if the employee does not.
Doesn't make sense, but okay.
Down to the highway fund, they just have some overtime that's over budget in the general repairs. In sewer district 6.
Is that a different page? Where are you?
No, down on the bottom where it says highway fund, down the bottom of page 1.
Okay.
It's
Some of these
$2,654.
circumstances, Wouldn't we make adjustments for these in other categories if possible in the department's budgets?
If they had it, we would. It's just not there right now.
Okay, and I had one other thing on the other report that you sent, the other email, where you had sent some information, and at the top of it was basically budget lines with 100, 500, those type of things, rather than sending category lines.
Right. That's the way we normally get them to look at them.
Right, it might be helpful that we get it so we can, I looked through it and kind of understood most of it, but we didn't get the categories because we only got the numbers, which came off of basically, we would only know that by cross-referencing.
So on the budget analysis one?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that from now on. I really did that for edification because there was so much going on. There was a lot to these, and I wanted to make sure you all had the information. So I'll make a note to do that the next time I do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So why don't we go over really quickly so everyone knows? So A fund is general D fund is highway. And then the W applies to the water, so water 1. Just so you know what you're looking at.
Well, I think they're,
The worksheets, the
Right.
worksheets for proposed budget mods is what she had sent, and
Right.
there, it goes A00909, and then A00, W0190, those sort
Right.
of.
Yeah.
So
You need to know
1315 is
to know.
controller position. The A00 1315 1100 is the controller position. The 1620 1500 is the building maintenance overtime. The 1620 1550 is the backup for the water and sewer maintenance crew overtime. The 1620 1275 is the backup for the water and sewer maintenance crew. And the 9050 8000 is the backup for unemployment insurance. This is just showing you how I calculated out what we were moving, just so you could account for, all the dollars.
Yep, thank you.
Sewer 6, they were just a couple of minor over budgets, and I just didn't have anything in the .4 lines to change them to. And a judgment and claim, there's just nowhere else to charge that because it's a 1930 account. I don't have another 1930 account that I can draw against.
Janet, what about the overage for the fuel grant project? We had talked about changing the split. Is that part of the fund balance?
Nobody's gotten
Mod?
back with the new split yet. I don't have that information yet. I'm waiting for that from your office. Josh
Okay.
was going to speak to somebody at the vendor and try to get some more information and then re-break it out for me. So it's,
Yeah, we're waiting on an updated price from them, but I mean, worst case, it's going to be what we had said, but moving the highway portion to water and sewer.
I mean, it's going to go on for the meeting. I just didn't
Okay.
put it on.
That's fine.
So water 1, this is the big one to discuss for the plant operators. This is going to depend on how you all want to proceed forward. So Matt had come to me last week, I believe, and we had discussed the fact that with using the contractors, his miscellaneous and contractual line under the water 1 was going to fall short because we were using that for like Dan Galley and Alan Schwartz. So we had talked about potentially moving money from the personal services line to help cover that, because your personal services line should have that leeway since you've lost a couple of people, and that's what they're doing is, in essence, replacing them as a contractor. So we did an analysis to see how much money we could move, and it turns out that even without any changes, you're going to be $55,064.53 short for the year. I can't speak as to why. I've looked through Paul's spreadsheets, and I can see the whole numbers, but I can't find the work that he did to arrive at the original budget of the $217,000. Perhaps it was because he wasn't planning on people retiring so soon or on the buyouts being so big. I just don't know. I can't speak to that. So then we did a second scenario to give you another option, which would be that you have no new hires and Tim Nagel retires, which just really, in speaking to Matt, is not feasible at all for his needs. That leaves you short $50,782.56. And scenario 3, which is where I think the board is looking to go, because I believe you're looking to appoint people at the next meeting, would be with Tim Nagel retiring. This is all effective as of August 1st. I just used an August 1st date. With Tim Nagel retiring and the 2 new hires, you'd be short $91,441. So it just kind of depends on which direction you want to go with covering it. I mean, we can certainly just cover shortages now and cover more down the road, but I wanted you all to have this information before you move forward and made any decisions.
Well, we made some decisions at the committee level, so I wish I would have had these numbers then when I was saying yes to hiring new people.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't have that information until the committee meeting. Yeah.
Right.
But-
So I mean, this is a committee matter. I mean, Matt, I don't know where you are in terms of your hiring, but we have 2 people on the on the agenda tonight for agenda.
As of right now, I don't have applicants.
Okay.
We do need to fill the positions though, because we can't operate the plant without operators.
Right.
And we have one person who he's hanging on, but he was planning on being gone a while ago. So he's hanging on partly because he wants to stay and work, but he's also doing it to help us out. At some point, when Tim does go, we're going to be in trouble.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
So if, just before the meeting, if you would all like, let me know which of these scenarios you want to budget for, what you want to do moving forward. I'll include that on the budget modifications for the actual meeting. And then the final one would be for Water One, again, that miscellaneous line. We asked him, how he felt he would utilize Mr. Galley and Mr. Schwartz through the end of the year as contractors. And based on that information, we feel that it will go over budget by $3,913, and Nicole built in an extra $1,087 cushion because sometimes unforeseen things happen and you may need to utilize them a little more often. So we thought that perhaps that warranted a $5,000 fund balance transfer.
Okay.
We still don't have a final cost on KPM. Supervisor Syed, is KPM done, or are they coming back as we begin to reopen?
As of now, they're not coming back. But that's, we may or may not bring them back, but I think we're looking to our existing service provider
Okay.
to provide some of those services. So it's something that'll be worked out in the next couple of days.
All right, so I'll just need their final invoice so that we can include whatever monies we need for that in the budget mods as well.
Okay.
And Matt, we already talked about the fuel station. We're just waiting on for that to come in. And at I believe it was at the Public Works Committee, please correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about the cloud services for the special utility billing.
Yeah.
And we decided that that should really come from the receiver of taxes line. Because that's what the special utility billing was done for. So I'm going to be making some budget mods. I'll email Diane when I have everything worked up together. We'll go from 0.4s to 0.4s, and we should certainly be able to cover it since her part-time staff has not been working due to COVID. I feel that there's enough money there to cover that. Does anybody have any questions on that? Supervisor Syed, a discussion regarding opting in for paid family leave.
I'm sorry. I thought I missed a couple of things. So where the page that says, because these aren't numbered, Town of Niskuna budget analysis, 12/31/20, budget is short, and it's the 1100 line. It's just this short one. Janet, it's just got one column,
The 4600 line?
the 1100 line.
I'm sorry?
1100 line.
I can't hear anything from my air conditioner. I apologize for
The
some reason.
1100 line.
Yes, thank you.
So it's this the short page. I can't make it show on the camera, but is that road patching? What is that line?
Oh, that is the highway overtime line.
That's overtime. That's not patching. I was trying to figure
Well,
it out.
general repair. So yes, it could be patching. It's general repairs overtime.
Okay. Why are we over there? Do we know?
I do not. I would have to speak with Ray.
Do you have any way of getting in touch with Ray?
Ray, I asked you about this earlier. Are you on?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Majority of my people are broken up through different areas of my budget. Not necessarily, it's not the overall highway that's in shortfall there. There's probably 5 or 6 people that are charged to just permanent improvements within my budget. And we have been working overtime, so each section of my budget has overtime for the individuals that are in that area.
Thank you. So then, Janet, the fund balance worksheet.
Yes.
So the top line number in the first line, but that number, that 5,316,000.
So that's your, I'm sorry, that's your unreserved fund balance as of July 13th. So that's your unreserved fund balance. And then if you subtract what's needed, which is all the requests within these pages, the 43,135, your unreserved fund balance after the budget mods would be that bottom line.
And that's already, that number is already with $575,000 taken out that we took out this year, right?
Correct. Correct. That's
So-
this, as of July 13th.
So are you able to tell us where, based on this kind of spending, we will be at the end of the year?
I could project that out. I can't do it right now, but I could project that out.
That would be great.
Okay.
So for each of those three lines then.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Supervisor Syed, the discussion regarding opting in for paid family leave.
Yes, thank you. So as a local municipality, we had the option to opt in or not. And a lot of other municipalities have now or have already or will be opting into paid family leave. So I think as a benefit to all of our employees, I would like for our town to consider opting in for paid family leave. It's going to be a minimal expense to the employee. And I think it's a great benefit to offer. Again, it's something that companies offer, private companies, and I think that a lot more public municipalities are following suit, and I think we should as well.
I don't think it's a policy question, right? It's a financial question. So
Right.
Did you speak to anybody and get quotes or anything? Have you reached out to any brokers or providers for this?
I have not. So that would be the next step in the process.
So I would suggest we reach out to our current broker, Marshall and Sterling,
Mhm.
see what they can do for us, price wise, and then we'll have a better idea of what it's going to cost.
Yeah. That works.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions on that?
no, we just really can't have a robust conversation about it without knowing what it costs. I don't think anybody's looking to deny people a benefit. However,
Right. And I know Paul had looked into this at one point and did not recommend it, but
I
I
think he
don't,
thought it was cost prohibitive. So
yeah, I
let's,
don't recall if it was the cost or not, so I'll see what I can find on that.
Okay.
A discussion regarding ClearGov cloud budgeting platform. So this was something that Paul had looked into prior to leaving, and he had set up like a virtual meeting with this gentleman. And I attended it, and Yasmin attended it, and I looked at this software, and I, for one, was highly, highly impressed with it. It seems so much better than working on an Excel spreadsheet that perhaps would cause calculating issues and missed formulas, and especially when you have 20 pages that you're trying to feed into one. It was very user friendly, and I felt like it was very transparent. So because it was cloud based, the town board members would all be able to access it and see live where the budget was at during the budgeting process. The departments could input their own information. It gave you graphs. It includes automatically includes all census data, so you can see how a particular taxpayer could log in and put in their annual taxes and see that 6.2% of their taxes go to public safety and 2.3% go to highway. I mean, it was very, very intuitive and fluid. So it's something that I was really interested in. Though I'm not the budget officer, the controller's office does have a lot of, input and a lot of responsibility with inputting the budget. And I just thought it was much friendlier than the spreadsheets that are currently used.
What's the cost for this?
I'm sorry, Bill?
What is the cost for this?
like 6,000. Yasmin sent it to us about 15 minutes ago, half hour ago.
So for this year, it would be $6,000. And I believe moving forward to carry it every year, it was, what was Yasmin? It was like 15, was it 15,000?
So to begin the implementation as of August 1, and they would actually start preloading data, so exporting, importing data throughout July. So that would all be complimentary. It'll be $5,806 for this year. So it would be August to December. And then for a re-up on the annual subscription would be $13,410. So that would be a 2021 expense.
That's a lot of money. I know I had many discussions with Mr. Sebesta before he left us about our budgeting, and I talked to you also, Yasmin, about how we were using kind of two different systems. We have our municipal accounting system, which we use, but then when we get into budgeting, we take that over and we use a Excel spreadsheet. Is that right, Janet?
Yes, that's
Right.
yeah. That's all done.
And sometimes I think things get lost in that going between one and the other. And I talked to him at many times, and he thought that he was going to be able to use the municipal system that we had to try to work with it, our budgeting.
Yeah,
So-
I can speak to that. I know he did do spreadsheets. That's what, I've come across, and that's what he had me working with. And then when the budget was set at each point that you set it with a preliminary and adopted, et cetera, I would enter that into the municipal accounting system. The thing about ClearGov is that we'll be able to export all of the Munis information to them so that it'll all be there. That was the one thing that I liked about that, where Munis isn't very user friendly with importing Excel information. So I would literally hand key the budget every year. So every time we reach a step in the budget through the 4 phases, I would, hand key everything into Munis. I have not worked, other than hand keying in and proofing everything out, we have not utilized it for budgeting. It's always been spreadsheets. And I do think that's where some of our issues come in, because spreadsheets just give you more room. Every spreadsheet gives you room for human error, right? You have formulas that are missed. You have 10 spreadsheets that you're trying to enter into one, and and I think that's why Paul was starting to look at some of these other softwares.
I agree with that things were getting lost in there, but this is very expensive.
Well, it's a fraction of our budget. It's a fractional cost. And I think the time cost, so there will be a huge time savings too, just across departments. Department heads can make their requests. All of requests can be tracked. Any changes can be tracked. Every board member can have access and see the audit trail of all of those changes. You can forecast with one click. It'll be good for projecting out salary increases when we're doing our collective bargaining agreements. You can preload all of that data in there and project out any percentage increase year over year with one click. Again, our process has been extracting the data, putting into Excel spreadsheets, of which I have now and have been able to review them. They work, but again, there's great opportunity for error. There are many sheets. We pull all of that data back into what is called a budget book. So part of this cloud-based software will provide that budget book. So that finalized document that we get, and we get it in 3 phases: tentative budget, town board budget, and then final budget. All of that will be digitized, and you can pull out individual department sheets. They are scalable, so you can change them as you need to. Everything that's pulled out from Munis, they will form fit to our own budget, so it'll all be highly specialized to what we have, to all of our cost centers and all of our accounting codes. So I do understand that even though it is a bit of a cost, at least for this year, if we can, evaluate it and see how it works for us this budget round, it's not something we have to commit to for 2021. But I hope that, if you all participate in the process and that you actually see how well it works, and that it's actually much more transparent for all of you, for all of us, for all of you, for the residents as well. I'm hoping that will be the proof of concept for everybody. So I'm not necessarily arguing that we need to engage in agreement for next year, but I would say for this particular year, I think that it is something that will drastically streamline our process and save us a lot of time.
Does anybody have any?
Sounds good. I'm fine with it. We're gonna have to do something. This is not gonna be easy.
No, not at all. And what I liked about it, everybody can look at it, and the audit trail is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, finger pointing. Oh, you must have did this, or you must have did that. It's all going to be right there at our, at our fingertips. Truly, because sometimes when you have 3 or 4 people working on a budget and doing entering, you really don't know who changed what, and sometimes it's just you're inverting numbers. You were in the wrong Excel box, and I really, I'm sure that if we asked, this gentleman would set up a virtual tour, if you will, like he did for us. I mean, if that's something you are interested in, we can reach out to him and you
Like
guys.
that. I wish
look.
we would have been invited to that. So yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, I would like to also look at this
Yeah.
thing that we're gonna spend this
Sure, so
money
we'll
on.
set
what-
something up.
How it's gonna help. But
Mhm.
you're telling me our Munis system has no abilities to do any of this type of work?
Not that it doesn't have the ability to do it, it's not really user friendly. It doesn't have, the canned reports are very minimal compared to what this cloud.gov offers. There's no, you can do salary projections based on percentages, but you can't really manipulate the data. You have to, if you do a 3%, you're doing it across the board where, all of your bargaining units most of your bargaining units have a different percentage increase. I just feel like this would be a lot more user friendly.
Yeah, I don't think that was really where we were having difficulties in our budgeting process with what, our negotiated contracts were, because we had those and we kind of knew where they were. And yeah, if they changed, we could plug in a percentage. It was more of the smaller items and the miscellaneous. And we have as you've worked with it for many years in the Munis system, there's a lot of categories, right? There's a lot of lines and that's a lot, right?
Yes.
And then you would extrapolate that and basically squish it down to get it into the Excel program, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's where things were getting lost.
So
Well, maybe we can take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll reach out to him. Yasmina, I don't know if you want to have your office do it or my office do it, but we can reach out to.
Yeah, I
reach
can
out.
do that. And I'll have him set up a demo. I think he'd be happy to do that.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on that? Right, so Yasmin, also for you, a discussion regarding an energy contract, the Constellation contract that Paul Briggs reached out to us about.
Yes. So through Mega, we purchase energy from Constellation. We have our contract is coming up for renewal. And Paul Briggs, if I'm missing anything, please jump in. So we were offered better terms this time around. And even though it's the summer months, typically you get a better rate in the fall, but it's unusually low. So we want to capitalize on that unusually low rate. So we did an analysis, and thank you to Janet, Nancy, for pulling all this data. The current rate compared to our proposed new rate would save us $8,500 year over year. So that's a nice savings. It's about 4%, or not 4%, it's a 4-cent change, which seems like it wouldn't be that much, but it will actualize $8,500 in savings. So I think it's a good deal.
So, and I think Paul Briggs indicated that happens on the day you sign the contract. So,
Yep.
If you want to sign at the end of the month, that may vary. I'm going to recommend that, on that date, we actually check those prices again to make sure that something hasn't changed. There's no surprise when you sign the contract, when you adopt the resolution.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be contingent upon that date. So hopefully if the rates stay as what we projected out, but we can have something, Janet, we should pre-populate this document again, and then on that date, we can recirculate a new savings proposal.
Okay. So I don't think, is Alexis on? So authorization to purchase 10 outdoor hand sanitizer stations for town parks, town hall, water and sewer garage. So Alexis got a quote for $3,030.50. She was waiting for additional quotes. I don't have anything additional from her yet. Obviously, she'll have to have that before the board meeting, but I think it was just getting this on radar. We have some additional PPE purchases, so we threw them on here for authorization. And I believe these are freestanding hand sanitizer stations.
That they are. Yes, that they are.
The next one was authorization to purchase portable sneeze guards. So she was looking at 10 of them. So basically these would be like a three-sided cube, if you will, so that when you're all sitting on the dais, you have that separation for yourselves.
Yeah, she sent me a picture of it. So we would have like individual cubbies almost in front of us. Yeah.
Right. You know, and you could move them back and forth to the Schaefer room if you had a meeting up there. You know, they're easily portable, that type of thing. And she was looking at we thought those would cost between $1,500 and $2,000. So that's why that requires finance approval. And the authorization to purchase additional wall-mounted thermometers as needed at $180 each. We just really don't know how many we're going to need. So I threw that on finance just in case we missed the threshold. We've purchased 2. There was one on the wall at Town Hall, the Town Hall side, and I believe the other one's going to be installed on the police side. And once we see how effective they are, because they do have to be charged over the weekend, they only hold about a 7-day charge, and they only hold so much data. And Alexis has been working at taking that data and downloading it to a computer, extrapolating it and clearing the system out. Once we know that that all works well enough, then I think she was looking to put these into additional facilities for safety reasons, but we just don't know enough about them yet. But I wanted to have it on there in case, she had everything done for the end of the month. H is a resolution to certify the adjusted base proportions to be used as class tax shares for municipal and school district levies. That's based on information that and I believe it's in your packets as well, so I don't know if anybody has questions on. I is a resolution to certify the proportions.
Eric Hamburger. Hamburger, put us on mute.
Put you on mute?
Yep.
You're off mute now. Is anyone speaking? Because I can't hear anyone.
Oh, okay. We're hearing you. Your situation is really loud now. I can't hear Janet.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
A resolution to certify the current base proportions to be used as class tax share for municipal and school district levies. That's also in your packet from Assessor Amberger. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions about that. J is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign 2 public benefit services agreements with Schenectady County. And I believe, Yasmin, did you add that to the amended agenda? I think those are correct. Yes.
Okay. Can someone just explain that one? Or are we doing that on a check?
Yasmin? We're on the resolution authorizing you to sign 2 benefit service agreements with Schenectady County. Those are the ones that you added at the end of the day today.
Yes, yep, I have those. I believe these were for the town park, so perhaps this should have been
These
something.
are the Lori ones. These are the Lori.
Yeah, this should have been a referred from community programs one, and I believe it's on the agenda for, it should be on the agenda for Highway Parks and Rec, but I'd be happy to speak to it. It's
That's fine. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we have nothing referred from public safety this month. Referred from Public Works, and we already touched on this for Matt, and authorization for payment of service fees resulting from the spring utility bills, cloud service fees. So Matt, you can just send that bill over to our office and we'll get that processed because that's going to come out of the receiver's lines.
Janet, going back to Public Works, or Public Safety, I'm sorry. An email was sent around yesterday and I believe again today about a promotion there for confidential secretary. I don't see it on the agenda.
Actually, the chief just texted me about that about 15 minutes ago. I was not made aware of that prior to this meeting.
The email did go out to the board. I'm sorry you didn't.
That's okay. I just spoke with him about it briefly before the meeting, and we are going to put that on. I have to reach out to civil service. I have to make sure that we have that position available. If not, we'll have to create it with civil service. But that can probably be done for the end of the month. Civil service only meets once a month. So if I can meet their deadline for this month, we'll get it done for this month. It's just a few papers. Yasmin has to sign it. and I can send it over to them.
It does have financial impact because it is an increase in salary.
It is, yeah, it is going to have financial impact. And that's, again, the chief literally texted me. I was sitting here at my dining room table. So I have to look into that for you tomorrow. We'll have to look at where she's at currently as far as steps. And
Okay.
it would change her to a supervisory position.
With those communications, we just keep everybody on the board in the loop.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so Matt, we're going to take care of T-Mobile Geo-Tab fleet tracking system. I don't know if somebody besides Alexis can speak to this. I was not involved in this, so I cannot.
Matt, I think you can, right?
Only very general. Alexis had all the detailed information. There was talk of converting, if not all, but some of the water and sewer fleet, I think some of the highway fleet as well, from the Verizon GPS tracking system to the T-Mobile system, which was quite a bit cheaper. I don't have the numbers exactly in front of me, but I think it was like $13 a month versus $19 a month. So it can add up quickly. I saw a sample of a demo of that system at the county, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm glad that Alexis brought this forward, but I don't have any of the other details as far as what vehicles she wanted to do, how many we wanted to do at this point, and if it required just finance or a full board resolution. I think the thought was to do at least some to try it out.
Yeah, as I recall, Matt, there's no contractual obligation. So I think there was talk about you could do whatever you wanted, and then go from there. But there was no, contractual obligation.
Yeah, so based on how many vehicles we do, it would be a certain dollar amount, which would then require certain levels of approvals. So I think we were looking to just do the amount that we had the authority through just finance and not go through the board at this point.
So right now we're using Verizon for this service,
Yes.
and if we have problems with Verizon or the service they're providing, I mean, it just sounds like this is going to be, we're going to explore this as being a lower cost option for us.
From what I understand, Bill, T-Mobile has moved in on Verizon's poles. So now T-Mobile has almost as good a service as Verizon, and they are, for some reason, still considerably cheaper. Is that your understanding, Matt?
Yes. I mean, the biggest difference I could see between the two services is that Verizon, at least the plan that we have, includes a one tow per year per vehicle. So you're basically gambling whether or not you need to have a certain vehicle towed. We have a pretty new fleet, and we have a lot of maintenance that's provided by our highway department, and they have a mobile service truck. So the amount that we tow vehicles is very limited. So I think the amount that you save by going with T-Mobile and giving up the free tow is well worth it.
Matt, you said you saw it. Did it look more user-friendly than that Verizon? Because that is not user-friendly as far as I'm concerned. It's horrible.
It seemed pretty user-friendly. Yeah. And then Alexis did check for me. The only question I had was whether or not there was an app that went with it. And she did confirm that they do have an app. So I think the images on the screen were very simple. They weren't complicated like some of the Verizon screens can get a little complicated. And it was just basic, but seemed solid. You could always do additional things, but we don't do a lot of fancy things. We're documenting the location of our assets, and this would easily do this for us.
Referred from community programs. Lori, I saw you pop in. Authorization to purchase.
An ice machine. Yes, the girls at the senior center have been using little ice cube trays, which is not fitting the bill at the moment. So they'd like to purchase an ice cube maker. The price is $1,664. It exceeds my threshold, but Ray said he would purchase it for me to get around that. So I'd like to get approval for that so they can have ice for whenever they need it.
Sounds like a lot of ice.
That's a lot of ice.
That is a lot
Maybe
of.
they're having cocktails. I don't know, but they need, I mean, right now they're using ice cube trays, which we know how quickly you can go through those. So
We use ice cube trays at the pool.
Yeah.
And we're doing, and we're making ice packs. I mean, we
yeah,
just
see,
don't
you
have
can use some of the ice from the ice
There
cube
we
maker.
have it. That's a.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow, that's pretty expensive. But
Yeah, Lori, what is it used for? You were talking about at the committee about the ladies going back and forth to stores for bags.
They were getting bags of ice for to put like bottles of water, and I know they use ice quite often. I mean, this is just one that makes 80 pounds. They could look at a smaller model if you thought that was this was a little excessive. This was just something that they found.
Yeah, I guess it's, depends on the need, how often you need it. And certainly it'd be great if it could be shared.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the location is right near the
pool.
pool, so they could use it as well. So
Yeah, so let's look at that.
okay, wonderful.
And referred from economic development, we're actually going to add a line, but the first one is authorization for a change order for a bottle filling station. Laura?
Yeah, I think that's actually a notification of the change order. But the original plans for the bathroom didn't include an outdoor fountain. And then when we were looking at it, to meet the needs of the current users of the park and hopefully the future users, I was down at the park on Saturday and I saw the new canal staycation thing in action, and it was cool. They had all the CDHP bikes out, and they had people that were loading kayak racks and getting and going, and it was very cool. I talked to one of the guys that was working there. So I'm hoping that, we get a lot of traffic through there, and I think it only makes sense to have a bottle filling station. People are going to need water as they're moving through the parks and using our trails and river. So that is the $3,780 change order. And then when I was talking to the contractor out there, there is provision in the contract for a spigot, but it's not frost free. And I myself have accidentally frozen my spigot out on my house, and it's a pain in the butt. So it's just $460 extra to have that frost free hose bib. So I like to do things that save us money, hopefully, from disasters in the future.
No objections? No questions?
Where
So
would
the-
that be located, Laura? Sorry. Where would that be?
So the fountain, it would be right on the face of the bathroom between the two door stalls.
And
There
then,
was this fountain scheduled to be there, or just a normal water fountain?
No, nope. And it's very minimal cost to add the filling station, I think, to it.
There was no fountain there.
Yeah, there was a spigot, but not a water fountain.
the final item, Laura asked to add today is authorization for the Sims bill to the county for $5,500, which just exceeds her threshold and needs finance approval.
I mean, I bring that every year. That's kind of a cost that we've agreed to with the county. I have it in the budget. I just need the finance approval in order to process the invoice for the system that the county maintains. GIS, it's available to the public. I send out the link to anybody whenever I can. It's really interesting. And also just a note, they just recently updated it. It has now got 2020 imagery on it.
No questions, concerns? 9 minutes to spare. Look at
I
that.
have a matter, Janet. Paul Briggs.
Hi, Paul.
We're going to need a resolution. We're short a member on the ethics board. So I'd like to get somebody appointed at the next meeting. It's the Democratic seat. I'll send an email out tomorrow asking for people to nominate a board member, but we'd like to have that filled because we're going to try to schedule a meeting for late August. So we'd like to have a full complement on the board.
Okay. Any other items? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
To adjourn.
Denise, a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And we adjourn at 6:52. Thank you.
Appreciate it.